Hey guys, this is Samantha with Cottonwood Market Boutique. I am doing something I haven't done in a while, refinishing a lovely round table that I got from Salt and Light Consignment here in Valdosta. We thank you to the sweet owner that hooked us up with that table at a really good price. If y'all haven't been by there, you need to go by. Awesome people up there. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a tutorial here in our studio downtown Valdosta, and I'm going to show you some of the products I'm using today. Okay, and you're kind of seeing behind the curtain in our work area that's a little messy because we work in here. So I started off by giving this piece a scuff of a light grade. I can't remember what number it is, but it's just one of the lightest sandpaper blocks there is. You can just pick these up at Home Depot. I do sell some of these in the shop. And then I started with, after that step, a white lightning cleaner. This is a concentrated cleaner. You put about a heaping teaspoon in a spray bottle that you can just get at Walmart, one of your cheapies. In this, so that's white lightning. We always have this in stock. If we don't have this in, we'll have our other brand that Dixie Belle has, which is pristine clean. Works just as well. This is wonderful for all things. It doesn't mess up the integrity of your paint when you use it. It's very non-toxic compared to some of the other cleaners that are out there. And a little goes a long way. You'll have this for a very long time. It's only $9.95. So we do have those. Like I said, if we don't have these in stock, we'll have Pristine Clean, which is real good. It's the silk line version. And you can use these. It has a degreaser on it, so they're great for kitchen counters or kitchen cabinets, baseboards, lots of different things. We're going to start with fluff, because I have some of that open. This is the chalk mineral paint. And then if you don't want to sand, you can use slick stick, but that takes a while to cure. Let's see, it says many days. It takes a couple of days to cure, and I want to get this into our window for display, hopefully by the end of today. And then I'm going to seal it with some clear wax that I have open. You can use a clear coat, but I have that open. And then I'm going to hit some of the highlights, like these beautiful details, with some gold, just to make them pop, since we're doing an off-white. Fluff is like a gray tone off-white. Probably our most, I would say, our most popular color. The one above this, that's the bright stark white, is cotton, and that one also sells. We sell a ton of that as well. So this slick stick is an amazing product too. If you have something with like a shiny, if this had like a really shiny coat, it's dull because I gave it a sand and cleaned it down. But if you had like tile that's shiny, glossy, and you wanted to paint over it, if you painted it with a couple of coats of slick stick, if you put it on glass, it'll make all of those surfaces where the paint will adhere to it. So the good thing about chalk mineral paint too is that it pretty much goes on most surfaces. It's self-leveling. We also sell the silk line, which is an all-in-one paint. It's wonderful too. But I didn't have any of that open, and we're going to do a tutorial on that pretty soon. I'm going to show you some cabinets. So that's really good product for cabinets. So here's our piece. Some real pretty all wood table that I got. A really cool thing about refurbishing furniture nowadays is, furniture is super expensive, and it's hard to find things that are real wood that aren't just outrageous. So I picked this up for around $65, and we're going to make it look like probably about a $300 piece by the time we get finished with it. And if you were to come in and get these products that we have in stock, if we don't have something in stock, we can order it. If you want to pre-order, you can do that. If you need, you know, something that we don't have, we can get it here in just a few days with minimal shipping. So anyway, I'm going to come back to you, and let me just put this in the holder and I'll go ahead and get started. Bear with me. There we go. Make sure that you have good lighting for your projects. We're not going to do all of this together, but we'll do it in some steps. So we already used our cleaner. I'm going to put that to the side. And we already used our sandpaper. So I'm going to put those up. Tell people to start with a damp surface, and these are great spray bottles. They're like your hairdresser has. They're just a fine mist. We do usually have these in stock for a few bucks. All right, so my paint is a little hard in here, so I'm gonna reconstitute it by adding some water. A little popsicle stick. It's like a baby paint stirrer. And it kind of gets, it's mineral paint, so it kind of gets clay-like. Just give that a little stir. And it really doesn't ever go bad. Sometimes we have it, if we've had it for a while, or they had it for a while at the warehouse and they've sent it, it might separate, but you just, I always tell people to stir it instead of shaking it up, because it gets it more even. We're very ready to rock and roll again. Don't add too much water because you don't want it to water down your paint too much. We aren't doing a whitewash. We want it to actually be paint. So add a little bit and a little bit until you get it to where you want it to be. Kind of messy, but you're not having a good time if you're not making a mess, right? All right. Thankfully, those droplets made it onto our surface, so, and not our floor. All right, so a dark color, usually you can get away with like 1 to 2 coats, but a light color, especially over something dark, will typically be, you're gonna need 2 or 3 coats. And I always tell people, the first coat always looks like garbage, no matter what. The magic starts happening as you build up. And that's really for all painting. You know, we do canvas painting and ceramics in the studio, and I do teach usually once a month or once every other month, depending on what the participation level has been, or what my schedule will allow, because I'm pretty busy. I do teach a Dixie Belle workshop, and we get into more steps and the other things you can do. I go through all the products with you and tell you what they do, and it's a good time. So, like I said, I misted my surface, and this is a thick paint. Typically, even if, see, I watered it down and it's still coming back thick because it's spreading like it should now. And I usually don't paint out of the container, but this is a small container and I know I'm going to use the rest of this. Typically, I'll use a paper plate or small paper cup or plastic cup. But it's good to keep a damp either brush or surface. I start off with a damp surface and then I kind of start spritzing my brush from there. But you want your brush to stay gliding and not getting stuck, because when it's getting stuck, that means that you need more paint, or more, it actually helps your paint go further if you keep it damp. So you either need more dampness or you need more paint. I love these brushes that have a small handle on them, because you can have more control over your brush movement. You can manhandle your brush. I feel like that's what I feel comfortable with. And you gotta use what feels most comfortable to you. Now, you'll see some brush marks in here starting off, but this paint is self-leveling. So those will most of the time go away, and you won't see them when it's fully dry. This paint is amazing how quickly it dries. It will be fully dry in 15 minutes. So you do get projects done very quickly, which is good. Like I said, I'm pretty busy, so I typically don't have a lot of time to paint. Because I'm running 2 businesses and just don't have time to do all the things sometimes. So I'm trying to get back to painting more, showing you about these amazing products that we have, so that if you have something going on, you can come in and we can help you with your DIY. And if you'll just share, like, comment. If you used Dixie Belle before, especially if you've come here and taken a workshop, or you're familiar with it and you just dove in and did it on your own, if you could just throw us a comment or tell us what your favorite thing is that Dixie Belle has, or why you love the product. I would really appreciate that. We thank y'all for watching. This is so therapeutic too. I love painting. I always tell people this is my therapy. It's a lot cheaper than actual therapy. Not that therapy is a bad thing, but this is another tool, in my opinion. I just tell people use long strokes. try to paint in the same way. Can be a little challenging when you have something round, but it's still doable. I like to start at the top and work my way down and just get it covered. We're just looking for a base coat. Get in all those nooks and crannies. Before the paint dries, make sure that you get those drips. If you're painting quickly like I like to do, keep it moving and make sure that you get your piece covered completely. I haven't been misting my brush because I still have paint and water in here, so it's staying damp. But typically, if my paint didn't need to be watered down, I would be misting this brush as I go. And like I said, I'm not really worried about the way it looks right now. I'm just worried about getting it fully covered. Pretty much have most of my top covered at this point, and I'm kind of a perfectionist in some regard. I do like to be thorough in a lot of things. I like to go back and I paint the behind of furniture, and a lot of people don't, and that's fine. It's all what you feel comfortable with and what you can live with and feel good about. No shame, no stress, but I just feel like it gives it a nice finished look when the underneath, it's just a little lip here. Like, I'm not gonna be crazy and do the underneath of here because like nobody's gonna see that, but this little lip right here, I'm gonna finish that off. Might not do 2 coats of it, but I want all of that wood color to go away. And I was really excited. I found this is exactly what I had in mind when I was thinking about a table. And of course I went all around town. I should have just went to this place first. I've never been here before, but I do follow Salt and Light Consignment on social media, and I just think the owner is so lovely and sweet. I love her mission to love on her community, and we like supporting other small businesses. I've been to Goodwill and there's nothing there at all, and I go into some of the big chain places and just couldn't find what I wanted, or it cost an arm and a leg, and I wanted to stay on budget, so I went in 10 minutes before they closed, and she had stuff on the table and was nice enough to take everything off and call the vendor that was the consigner of the piece, and they and then a sweet man that was shopping with his wife helped me put it in the back of my vehicle. So it was a really cool experience for my Saturday hunt. Alright, I'm going to move down to the bottom. I am kind of being sloppy because I'm being fast, and I'm getting a little bit of paint on my floor, but it's a hard floor, and the good thing about it is I could let it dry and then get a baby wipe and clean it up afterwards, so no worries. And you have thinned out your paint a little bit, it gets like that. Now I'm using an angle brush, which makes it really easy to get into these nooks and crannies, and we sell brushes here too, fabulous brushes that you'll have. I like a synthetic brush when I paint, because the natural hair fiber brushes, they actually can shed and get into your paint, and that's super annoying. So this is what I prefer. We have a number of brushes, but an angle brush is always going to help you with rounded surfaces and nooks and crannies. And round brushes do the same thing. But I like I said, I really like this little handle instead of a long handle, because I feel like I can paint faster and control my strokes better. And if you're working on a piece and need some advice, please comment, and I'd love to be able to give you some advice or tell you about a product that we have that can help you with that. Dixie Belle has a really wonderful website where with every product that they have a YouTube video at the bottom of each product page, and it shows you how to use the products. So a lot of people, they would rather learn by watching somebody, and that's where the workshops are good. I usually offer those for $55. They last for about 3 hours or 2.5 hours typically. It depends on the class size. Definitely no more than 3, but typically 2.5. Usually around 2.5. But it comes with this size paint. Actually, I think it comes with an 8 ounce. Yes, I believe it's an 8 ounce, so it's bigger than this. And then we give you a little chip brush to take home too. And like I said, you learn about all the products and what all they do, and we go through that, and then I show you how to you bring in something small that you can, I'm not going to go all the way to the floor. I'll wait until I can put this on top of something. So I'm usually painting on paper on a table, but we're going to be getting ready for a paint party that we have tomorrow night. If you haven't signed up for a canvas party, we have a painter's choice. We have 2 different choices of paint, a pretty floral chicken and a floral boot. So went with a country theme for that. It's gonna be super fun. Ashley's gonna be teaching that. She's great. We love our Ashley. Alright, my paint's getting thick again, so I'm gonna have to thin it out. This is almost dry already up top, just for reference. I'm not going to paint all of this with 2 coats for y'all today, because you'll get tired of seeing my face and hearing my voice for all of that. But I did want to show you how quickly that first coat goes on. It probably took me about 5 minutes to scuff paint, or scuff up my, and take that little sheen off before I cleaned it. But cleaning and sanding it, lightly sanding it, is what I call scuffing, with a light sanded or a light grit sandpaper. That step probably took about 5 minutes, so. Some drips on here, so I'm just gonna fan those out so they don't clump. I like to stretch when I'm doing my painting too, when I'm up and down on the floor. Ugh. Get a little yoga in there. All my people over 40 understand. Like I said, I'm not doing it neatly, I'm just getting it covered. And if y'all haven't been into the storefront, we have the studio in the back and we have the storefront in the front. So you'll hear customers coming in and out. We have this shop decorated for fall and Halloween. So we'll look for a video tour of that coming soon. We put out one quick one that was a reel, but pretty soon I'm gonna take y'all through and give you a little peek, more of a peek at that, because it is absolutely gorgeous, and we are feeling all the fall vibes. Kind of kicking myself for not having my paint, looking at my paint to see if it was in good shape before I started. But just like with my workshops, it's good to show some things that I don't think about telling you unless we are interactively dealing with the issue. So at least you know that if your paint gets clumpy, that it's not bad. Just needs to be reconstituted with some water. Just remember, go a little at a time, because you don't want it to be too watered down. And remember what I said at the beginning, how the first coat that goes on is gonna look like garbage. But I promise you, the magic happens on the second and third coats. All right. So here's our coat. Our first coat is done, except for the very bottoms where it meets the floor. So I don't want to get paint all over my floor, but here is the beginning stage, and I'll come back